Corsair released a 36-gram mouse. And yes, you heard me correctly. 36 grams. Now the question is it worth the compromises? Or if that's nothing you can feel in game, should you just go ahead and buy it? I don't know, man. There's a lot to talk about this mouse. So definitely make sure to stay tuned. But before we go dive deep into this thing, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Tipsy. Whether you're looking for an affordable, do-it-all V-shaped banger, or a super detailed and bright tuning to get the absolute edge on your opponents, Tipsy Audio got you covered with their all-new M1 and M3 lineup. Being in the IM industry for almost 10 years and having sold over 150,000 customized units, they've put all their knowledge and experience into their new universal models to give it that custom look and feel. Go get your new audio upgrade today with the link in the description down below, and make sure to use code JAKU at checkout to save a whopping 10% off of your entire order. As a quick disclaimer, yes, Corsair did indeed send this out to me. However, that will not affect my opinion on this thing, as you will see very soon. And if you're at all interested in these type of peripheral enthusiast reviews, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it, because we've got a lot of interesting stuff coming by the end of this year. First of all, let's get into the unboxing experience, which is incredibly minimal. You have some spare Teflon skates that are super mid, an alcohol wipe, some grips that actually feel pretty decent, and an ultra stiff USB-A to USB-C cable. And then there's also this silly receiver that has a clip on it. And of course, as watching this, I do have one question. Why? There's no way I'm clipping this onto my freaking mouse pad. Because if you do, not only will you damage the base over time if you have a pour-on pad or something similar, but also is this just begging for you to flick it off with a 180. I think pretty much anyone would just prefer this to be a grippy pad underneath, so that it doesn't slide off your desk and just call it a day. Getting into the build quality, this is a bit of a spicy one. Because when people first received their Sabre, clips on Twitter were going viral. Because the engineering of this mouse includes a very thin top shell, which you can press in with some slight force with your thumb here in the back. If you grip it normally and press your thumb into the side, there is a very subtle flex, but it's nothing that I can personally feel in game. And overall, I wouldn't call this a proper issue. There's nothing that bothers me in game, but I can see this shell not lasting as long if you were to drop it off your desk a few times. I personally would much prefer to see mice being engineered just better and not just compromising with a super thin top shell. There is definitely a lot you can experiment and do with mouse design in order to achieve a lighter weight. But yeah, it's not the end of the world, but it's also something that I don't really personally want to see again. Getting into the weight, I actually have dot skates installed right now, so it's actually less than 36 grams. So with these stock skates already installed, this is definitely just around 36 grams, so no false advertisement here. I will say that especially with faster skates, this mouse feels insanely light. I'm also using a speed pad right now, so that just adds to the experience. If you've never tried a super light mouse, I can definitely recommend just giving it a try, especially if you're a lower sensitivity aimer, because having that little weight to swing around on your mouse pad is definitely a huge difference and something that I personally really like. Just don't expect it to make you a better aimer in an instant. It's just more of an intuitive feel, that's pretty much it. And I think it's about time we speak about the elephant in the room. This mouse is simply an adjusted DAREU A950 Air or Wing, which I highly assume is simply an OEM model that was rebranded for Corsair here. Compared to the DAREU model, the sidewalls have been adjusted so that you don't pinch your finger when using the right click up here. The skate design is also a huge upgrade from the sharp cornered feet on the DAREU, as you can see by the outlines here. The DAREU A950 with the 3950 sensor can also be found on AliExpress for around 55 euros, which is about 60 to 65 US dollars. But keep in mind that is without shipping, and I'll leave some links down in the description below for some AliExpress stores where you could buy the DAREU OEM model, so that you can do some comparisons for yourself, because those listings change all the time. But yeah, when taking those costs into account, getting the original Corsair Sabre for around 99 US dollars with free shipping in the US doesn't really look that bad. But for us European folks, that's probably a whole different story, where the price difference between the two ranges from around 20 to 30 euros. But honestly, I feel like the upgraded skate design, and especially the upgraded sidewall design, is pretty much worth it. And you should also keep in mind that with AliExpress, returning stuff or just warranty in general is really bad. So if you want to give this super lightweight mouse a try, you could probably just hop on Amazon and return it if you don't like it. Now, getting into the shape, it is very bland. It almost feels like somebody just opened Fusion 360, created a rectangle and rounded some corners, and then just did an extrusion and cut some corners. Even when holding it, it pretty much just feels like a rounded rectangle. It's really weird. These are literally the flattest sides I've ever seen. There are no comfort grooves on the main buttons whatsoever. And in terms of the size, this is definitely a small to medium size mouse. With my 19 by 10 centimeter hands, I can just aggressive claw it. I definitely have to curl up my fingers a bit, and as you can see, I'm absolutely edging it. It is definitely a rather boring center humped mouse, but honestly, I don't hate it. I can absolutely aggressive claw it and get comfortable with it in game, but those super flat sides do tend to hurt my fingers a tiny bit over time. I wouldn't really recommend it for a pincer claw, it just feels a bit awkward to use. I also wouldn't recommend it to palm grippers. For an aggressive or relaxed claw below 19 by 10 centimeters, I could see it being usable. And where this thing really shines is fingertip grip, because these sides are so freaking flat, and you can place your fingers wherever you want and it feels very intuitive to use. In terms of comparisons, I don't really own anything that is remotely similar to this. But here you have a hit scan hyperlight on the right side, so that you have a general sense of how big it is. In terms of the dimensions, these things are definitely rather similar, but when it comes to the in-hand feel, these things are very different. The hit scan just feels like an actual mouse that somebody spent a lot of time shaping, and the Corsair Sabre feels like somebody just explored what Tinkercad is and made a shape within 2 hours. In terms of the coating, I don't even know if this thing has one. It almost feels like raw plastic, but then it also almost feels like there's some sort of coating on it. But yeah, no matter what it is, it's not great. It's a good thing that they have grips included, but I would much rather see a good coating on a $99 US mouse. In terms of the stock skates that you saw in the unboxing part of the video, they are trash. They're very thin, they're not very rounded, and compared to anything else we have on the market that is 100% PTFE, thick enough with a super nice rounding and adhesive pads, whatever they had included with this one, it's really not that good. If you put any type of pressure onto your mouse when aiming, on a softer cloth pad that isn't super firm like mine here, you will definitely be dragging the base of your mouse on it. When it comes to the buttons, the main buttons feel and sound very cheap, even compared to my $35 MCHOS L7. It's super difficult to describe how it actually feels and sounds, so I'll make sure to include a sound test right after this section. Overall, it's more on the lighter side of switches, definitely not tactile. There's quite a bit of pre-travel the further you go, and the clicks only feel okay if you're exactly where the plungers are. The side buttons again also feel rather cheap. There is a lot of post travel here on the rear. I can pretty much press in the entire side button to the shell. Same goes for the front side button. They also feel pretty mushy. The scroll also feels rather cheap. You can feel the steps, but they're not really crisp or anything like that. And it's also not a light scroll, it's a bit more of a heavy scroll. And the scroll click is actually really good. It's definitely spammable, not too light, not too heavy. And here's the sound test for you guys. Another thing that I really don't like about this mouse is the sensor position. I grip my mouse pretty much with my thumb in the center of the mouse, and as you can see, the sensor position is super low. If you draw a line where the side buttons meet, you can actually see that it would be above even the sensor skate, and because of that, the sensitivity and the input feels a bit sluggish and a bit slow. Because the further forward your sensor is, the faster it feels, and the more it is towards the back, the slower it feels. In terms of battery life, it's actually been alright. I've only had to charge it once within a week on 2K polling, so that's pretty decent. And let's get into the WebDriver, because yes, it actually has a WebDriver. You don't have to download any Corsair software, and that is absolutely huge. Up here on the left, you can change your profiles. On the main side, you can actually customize your buttons. Here you can change your DPI. You can also record and assign macros. And then under device settings, you have the polling rate, the sleep timer, the firmware update, and a reset button. There is no sensor rotation. There is not even a debounce time setting. And I appreciate Corsair for doing a WebDriver, but holy shit, not even having a debounce time setting is insane. But you know what's even more insane? You can't even change your liftoff distance. Corsair, if you want to make competitive products inside of this space, which I highly assume you want to because you just made a 36 gram mouse, you have a lot of catching up to do. Alright, so who is this mouse for? If you are not an enthusiast when it comes to mice, if you are just the absolute average gamer and you just want a light mouse, just go ahead and buy this thing on Amazon, and if you don't end up liking it because it's too small or you don't like the shape of it, just send it back. For anyone else who cares about mice, who cares about the WebDriver and all the settings that you'd normally expect, who cares about something like a grippy coating, good skates, a nice click experience, do not buy this thing. It is clear as day that we are not the target audience for this type of product because we have other products at half the price that we'd much rather have, with things like a good coating, really nice buttons, incredible build quality with no top shelf flex, and even at a similar weight at around 40 grams. I know I might be sounding really harsh in this thing, but gosh damn it, look at my channel. I come from a community where we pretty much only care about enthusiast level products, and yeah, this is just not it. However, I do highly appreciate Corsair for actually stepping into this type of market, even though they pretty much just took an OEM model and did a slight redesign. Despite doing pretty much minimal effort with this release, I'm really happy to see a huge brand like Corsair releasing a product with such a low weight, because that just adds to super light mice being a bit more normal and common. So yep, that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it to get notified for any upcoming peripheral reviews. By the end of the year, I'm also going to be releasing a top budget mouse video, so definitely stick around for that one. But until then, I'll see you guys pretty soon. Peace out.